What's up guys, Matt back again, and this is the Ichiban Kuji Super Dragon Ball Heroes 4th mission, and in today's video we'll be reviewing the entire set. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. Super Dragon Ball Heroes can be tons of fun to get as the characters can be very unique and, yeah, fun. This figure is a pretty good example of that, being the Crimson Masked Saiyan in his Super Saiyan 3 Rosé form. It's obviously no secret that the true identity of this character is Goku Black. Goku Black doesn't get many other figures in Masterlies nowadays, so I'll take whatever I can get within Super Dragon Ball Heroes, I suppose. It's hard to judge the likeness of this figure since his face is covered by the mask, but from what I can see, he is definitely really well made in the face. His eyes are well designed and the mask looks really cool on his face. The big pull of this figure is obviously his huge hair. Super Saiyan 3 hair almost always looks cool on a figure because it demands tons of detail and texturing, which this figure absolutely nails. I will say though that it's obvious that almost everything except for the hair sculpt and new arm have been recycled from the previous year's 3rd mission Masked Saiyan. That's not a big deal since we get a new form out of it, but it is something that always comes across a little lazy. My biggest issue with the sculpt is his hair support. That's right, his hair is so heavy that it requires its own support. But the support that comes with them is very cheap, ugly, and falls apart pretty easily. Any movement of the figure will have the stem come out of the base of the support. I'm glad Bandai eventually figured out a way not to have the support for the 5th mission Crimson Masked Saiyan, but this one certainly took the hit of being a test dummy of sorts. His paint and shading are fantastic though, seeing all of the mixtures of shading in his hair. His gi is pretty dark, so the rest of the shading comes across a little more subtly. Of course, he scales well with other Masterlies figures within a collection. This Crimson Masked Saiyan figure might be my least favorite of the ones currently on the market, but he's still a pretty cool figure to pick up and own. Mysterious Saiyan arrives within this Kuji. If you weren't aware, the true identity of this character is none other than Bardock. This version of Bardock was kidnapped and brainwashed by Toa and Mira before eventually being freed by Zeno Trunks and abandoning his former name. It's pretty funny to think that this was technically our first Bardock figure in Masterlies. The figure also seems based on the Super Dragon Ball Heroes card of the character in his Super Saiyan form. His likeness is tough to really see since it's hidden behind his collar, but rest assured that he's got plenty of details where it counts. You can see good crafting and detail around his eyes, plus his signature scar on his cheek. His hair sculpt is amazing too. It leans more into the fluffy look for Super Saiyan hair, but does have a little bit of texturing to show the hair strands. The coat on the figure has some awesome details too, like its torn ends at the bottom. There isn't a ton of noticeable shading on the coat, but his pants and hair have awesome shading. The hair sculpt in particular has some great looking whites mixed into the yellows, which is one of my favorite ways to color and shade Super Saiyan hair. The figure certainly scales well with other Masterlies figures as well. I will say that while the character himself isn't exactly as remarkable as Bardock, he is pretty cool and my definite favorite of this Kuji. Before Super Dragon Ball Heroes ended, Bandai released an annual Ichiban Kuji for the series. The year before this set, they released a Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Zeno Goku. For some reason, they decided to do this yet again for this Ichiban Kuji. Zeno Goku is a different incarnation of Goku that works for the Time Patrollers and uses Super Saiyan 4 instead of his god forms. The game and anime introduced a new form for Super Saiyan 4 called Limit Breaker that takes some inspiration from GT's full power moments from the anime. But seeing this character again 2 years in a row is just something nobody was asking for. There are plenty of other choices that you could have pulled from the anime and card game that could have been a lot more exciting and possibly fitting for this set. His likeness has been changed to an open-mouthed screaming expression for this figure, which does look very good and allows him to look a little different than the last two sculpts, the third mission and the Greatest Saiyan figures. It looks very good with plenty of details and no strange mess-ups. No complaints there. As mentioned though, he is recycling the sculpt of not only the third missions figure, but also the Greatest Saiyan Goku, as that figure had many of its assets used for the third mission sculpt. Hopefully that's not too confusing. Now, the paint and shading of this figure can be pretty polarizing. The Limit Breaker form adds a bit of red and shine to the characters, which I think was brilliantly done for their Master Lee's iterations. It certainly makes them look a lot more unique and actually stands them out a little bit. I do think some are done better than others, but Goku looks great. He's great in the size and scale department too. I don't think this figure is bad in a vacuum, but if you're looking for Zeno Goku, I'd recommend the third mission, and if you're looking for Super Saiyan 4 Goku, then go with the Greatest Saiyan. I just think this figure is a bit redundant and forgettable. Now, this is a figure I have no problem including in this set. Zeno Vegeta in his own Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 form. I've mentioned countless times how Vegeta just doesn't get enough Master Lee's releases, so I'm happy to see him included no matter how and where he is. The figure, like everyone in this set, is based on his Super Dragon Ball Heroes card. His likeness is great. His face looks really well made, and he's got a very fitting expression for the character. Now, something you'll notice is the figure is very similar to the Greatest Saiyan Vegeta figure. I do believe a majority of that sculpt, except for the forearm and legs, have been reused and reformatted for this figure. It's a fantastic sculpt to reuse, but it was something that I noticed when comparing both figures. With that in mind, the details such as his fur texturing, hair sculpt, and muscles are really well done and pretty highly detailed. The figure is also just like Goku in his paint and shading by having the bright red fur with a metallic, glossy finish for his fur and hair respectively. I think the reason some people don't like the color style for Limit Breaker is the fact that it's red on red, while Super Saiyan 4 is black on red and much more interesting. The figure is slightly shorter than Goku, but is a good size for a Master Lee's figure, which is some nice attention to detail. This Vegeta figure isn't that remarkable out of all the Master Lee's figures, but he's still pretty badass and stands out strong amongst a majority of this set. Sometimes it really feels as though Bandai is playing some sort of prank on me. The addition of Zeno Gogeta in this set feels a bit redundant with the last one prize that we'll talk about shortly. Not only has Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta been made 3 times before already, not only has Zeno Gogeta been made a unique sculpt before already, but this figure reuses the same ugly, omnibus Super Gogeta sculpt I've come to basically hate. All of the issues of that last Gogeta are still here. His face is strange and looks pretty goofy from most angles. I think his teeth are too big and there's something missing in his eyes that would make him feel more alive. The biggest changes on the figure are his colors to match the Zeno Gogeta colors a lot better. He's got plenty of paint and shading, but is lacking in a bit of it throughout his gi. He scales well with other figures too. I really don't have much more to say about this figure. I'm tired of seeing this Gogeta sculpt, and I hope this set was Bandai's way of retiring him. Our last one prize is another Zeno Gogeta, but now in his Limit Break form. Now, before I start complaining again, I will point out the good of the figure. Zeno Gogeta is unique when using this form as his hair grows much longer and he's completely red. He gets the metallic coloring of the form too, so it makes him a little more unique. Unfortunately, he gets all of the same issues from the recycling of the sculpt for the most part, and a poor face. He's really only a recommendable pickup if you want to have all of the Limit Break figures and pair them up. I'm honestly just so tired of seeing this figure and hope I never have to talk about it ever again. So those are my thoughts on Ichiban Kuji Super Dragon Ball Heroes 4th mission. Is it the worst Super Dragon Ball Hero set? Definitely not. I still think the first and second sets are a lot worse, but this was definitely a setback from 3rd mission, which is one of the best, and 5th mission to come after it. I think it's just super forgettable, reusing so many sculpts, having characters nobody really asks for, so it's just not that exciting to me. But those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you made it this far in the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and consider becoming a YouTube member at just $3, so that way you can jump into the Discord server, support the channel even further beyond, and you can take part in our monthly giveaways as well, starting at $10, $15, and $20 to win either a Crane, an Ichiban Kuji figure, or an Ichiban Kuji set within those tiers. But I think that's all I've got for you guys today, so until the next video, I will see you all later.